Welcome to the Home Downsizing Show. My name is Ben Souchek, your host and the owner and founder of Home Downsizing Solutions. With the Home Downsizing Show, I want to provide you the information and resources to make the downsizing of your house stress and hassle-free. So sit back and enjoy the show. Thank you for joining us. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Home Downsizing Show. This is Ben Souchek, the owner and founder of Home Downsizing Solutions and the author of Home Downsizing Secrets. On this week's episode, I'd like to talk about kind of the team aspect of the way a home buying company such as Home Downsizing Solutions can fit into a team of companies that can help you get from where you're at, if you're currently in your house that you've been in maybe for decades, and need or want to get to some type of senior living, whether it be independent living or maybe assisted living if you need a little bit more help around the house, a nursing home, a CCRC, continuing care that is a community where you can start with one level of care and move into other levels of care that you may need in the future. So there's certainly different companies that can help you get to going from point A to point B, whether that be the senior placement agent, the senior move manager, an estate sale company, organizing companies, and of course the real estate aspect, whether it be a real estate agent or a home buying company. And so I like to consider all of these individuals or companies as part of your home downsizing team that it takes to get from point A to point B. Depending on if you have family or friends that are close by that can assist with some of these things, maybe you don't need quite the service as someone that maybe doesn't have someone close by, or just decide, I'm going to be as much hands off on this as possible and leave it to the experts to get me from point A to point B. But some of the services, and we'll talk a little bit about what these services do. It sometimes starts with, it often starts with what I hear is, I'm thinking about moving to senior living, one of the types of levels of care, but I have no idea where to start. Or in conjunction with I have no idea where to start, I have decades worth of stuff in this house, and it's going to take me some time to go through, or I just don't have any idea how to go through the things and what I can take with me and what I'm going to not be able to take with me. And so those are all very common questions that we hear time and time again. One of the services that can assist with this initial task or challenge is an organizing company. There are great companies out there that help a person deal with the stuff that's in the house. And these companies, again, will have different levels of service. It typically comes down to how much time and how much of their services you want to pay for. But they are assuming to some extent where you want to go, which is, of course, another service. The senior placement agent or some real estate agents depending on where you want to move to, can assist with where you want to get to. But the organizing companies that help you deal with the stuff, if you know where you want to get to, they're able to help you develop a floor plan for your new residence so that you'll have a good idea of what you can take with you or what you definitely cannot take with you that will fit in your new residence. They will come in and help you sort through things, help you tag things to move, and will typically help arrange. They won't do the moving themselves, but they will typically be able to facilitate getting a moving company so that the organizing companies will come in. Again, they can help with deciding which things to move, which things might be sellable, which things, if you want to donate to charities, they can assist with some of those things sometimes. Although, just a side note, understand that charities in general are just very picky on and selective on what things they will take, and some of that has to do with liability. So they are very careful on what things charities will take. But the organizing companies will help with that. And when it comes time to move, they can typically come in, pack things up. And again, the level of service will depend on what you would like them to do. But sometimes their services can be white glove services where they will pack everything to move to the new residence, organize, of course, the movers to come in and move the things from point A to point B. And then they will go to the new residence and unpack everything to where you essentially just have to get yourself from point A to point B. So they make it very convenient to make that transition. And then, whether it's their company or if they don't provide this service, an estate sale company or auction company can then come in. If you have items, belongings that you don't want to keep or keep in the family but want to sell, then these companies can come in and monetize those items to get you as much as possible for those items that you want to sell. And that can happen typically after you move, so that it doesn't inconvenience you when you're transitioning from point A to point B. And of course, then you have the moving companies that, if you do not need necessarily the organizing, the hands-on organizing aspects, movers will typically come in also and pack items and then move those items from point A to point B, but they don't necessarily have the white glove service or the assistance in organizing that some of the organizing companies do that specialize in helping seniors move from point A to point B. So there's a typical mover may not have quite the level of service that some of the other companies do, just to keep in mind on that. The other parts of the team are, as I mentioned earlier, a senior placement agent, which will, again, depend on the level of service or care that you need and the type of senior community you or your loved one is moving into. They're kind of like a real estate for senior living communities, in that they will assess the level of care you need now, as well as, and they should assess what you will potentially need in the future, because the last thing you want to have happen is to move from one location and then a short time later have to move to another senior living community or facility. But they will assess what you need or potentially need in the future, they will do their best to locate senior communities that are in your geographical area as best they can, or at least give you and come up with the options of what will be available in your area, as well as potentially, if there are not good options in your area, as close as possible to the areas that you want to stay within. They will do the research or should have the knowledge of the cost of the communities, so that you have an idea of all of those items, and narrow the options down to hopefully 3 or 4 that you can then they will go with you to visit, to actually see if they are going to be a good fit, or hopefully be able to find one that is a good fit for you or your family member. So it's kind of like a real estate agent to find the right place, like right residence to move to. And the last part of the team is, if you have a house that you want to sell that you're not going to hand down to a family member or sell to a family member, but you're looking, especially if you need to sell that house to move into a senior living community, to get the funds out of that house and to have money available to move into a new residence, then that real estate professional can be very important. And of course, a couple primary options you have are utilizing a traditional real estate agent or a home buying company that specializes in working with seniors. Hopefully you can find a company like Home Downsizing Solutions that specializes in working with seniors and their families in that transition from a house to a senior living community. The couple of things that I would recommend when it comes to a traditional real estate agent is, one, that they have an SRES designation, which is a senior real estate specialist designation. So they should be more apt to understand what you are looking to do, what you're in the process of doing, and the best ways to assist you in that transition. The other item that I would recommend when working with a traditional agent is, are they a total solutions agent? And being very transparent, that's a term that I created because I think, to me, an agent should offer you multiple options to help you understand what is available to you, so you or your family can choose which option is best. What that means is, one, they can certainly list and market your property in a traditional manner, but two, they also have connections to cash home buying companies, real cash home buying companies, that can come in and give you an idea of what you can sell the house for in its as-is condition. If it needs repairs or updates, you don't have to worry about doing those things. So that total solutions real estate agent should be able to give you an idea and options for both of those type of selling situations. With home buying companies, one, it goes without saying, but if you haven't sold a house for a long time, if you're not aware of what's out there as far as home buying companies, it's another whole learning environment. You want a company that does actually have the funds to buy houses in a quick manner or when you want them to close. There are companies that are called wholesalers that will advertise that they buy houses, that will tell you they buy houses, but in reality, they don't. In reality, once they get a contract to buy a house, they will just try and sell that contract to a real buyer that can actually close on that contract. And they certainly won't make that abundantly clear to the seller in most circumstances. And so you want a buyer that you can check on, that you can confirm with a title and closing company that the company is legitimate, that they do actually close on their own contracts, that they don't sell the contracts to other people, and that they are a real buyer. And so checking with the title company or closing company that a home buying company says they use certainly can be a very good thing to do to ensure that they are a real home buying company. The other thing you want to check on is, do they specialize in working with seniors and their families with that transition? Because just like some moving companies or the organizing companies, if a company specializes in working with seniors, they understand that there are things that can be done to make the process of that transition from their house that they've been in a long time to a new residence much less stressful, much easier. And again, Home Downsizing Solutions certainly does that. And so you want to be mindful that there are companies that do a better job of working with situations like this than others. If you're working with the right company, of course, there's the basics, the basic benefits of working with a company like this, such as the company will buy a house in its as-is condition. You won't have to worry about repairs or updating. You don't have to worry about any of the stuff that's in the house. If you have things you want to move, then you have that taken care of. If you have items that you want to give to your family or friends, maybe you have certain things that you would like to sell. The home buying company can make arrangements with auction and estate sale companies to make that happen. Or sometimes they can just buy the items as well, so you don't have to worry about the cost or additional logistics of having a sale. So the right company can make that happen. A good home buying company can also be very flexible on possession dates. So if you want to sell your house now so that you know that you have it sold, but take 30, 60, sometimes maybe 90 days to transition to a new home, you have that ability to with the right home buying company. They understand that sometimes you can't move into your new residence when you want to or when the house sells, but you might need some extra time. They may need some extra time to get the room or the new apartment ready for you. And so all these things, if you're not working with a company that can be flexible on these items, just make the process more stressful than it really needs to be. And likewise with some communities, if you're looking to buy into a community or it's a private pay community, if you need to sell your house to get the money out of the property in order to buy into the new residence, then sometimes people have to take out a bridge loan or get funds from some other place temporarily so that you can make that transition to a residence. Whereas with the right home buying company, again, they can close and buy the house immediately, getting the seller their funds from the house immediately, and allowing the seller then to have the funds available to buy into the new residence, but not move until, again, maybe 30, 60, 90 days after that has all happened, to make that very easy and less stressful. So I hope that has provided some information in creating your team or the team that should be available to you and your family if you're looking at making a transition from your house to senior living. And knowing that if you have the right team put together, they can make this process a lot easier than if you don't. And if you have the right, especially real estate home buying company, sometimes they can be the only call that you need to make, in that they can help facilitate or put together your team with the organizers, with the movers, with the estate sale companies, and of course can buy the house to make all that happen very seamlessly. If you have questions about any of this, or how a home downsizing solutions or a great home buying company can help, just call my office, toll free 855-291-5005, 855-291-5005, or go to homedownsizing.com, and we would be happy to assist in any way that we can. If you'd like a free copy of Home Downsizing Secrets, again, just call our office, 855-291-5005, or go to homedownsizing.com, and we would be happy to send that directly to you. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great week. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Home Downsizing Show. For additional information and resources on home downsizing, just go to homedownsizing.blueprint.com. That's homedownsizing.blueprint.com. Or if you're ready to sell your house and downsize, just go to homedownsizing That's homedownsizing And if you have ideas to improve our show, or topics that you'd like us to cover, or have any questions that we can answer, just call our office, toll free, 855-291-5005. That's 855-291-5005. Thank you.